the party starts to come alive until the day is dawning. We can throw out all the blues and hit the city lights, 'cause there's music in the air and lots of loving everywhere. So give me the night.
Hi everybody, my name is Luke and welcome to the virtual online Point Blank Open Day.
Hi there, my name is John. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Brilliant. Well listen, we've got a treat for you in store today. Today's really an opportunity for you to find out more about Point Blank's online courses. I'm going to be doing a presentation going into a bit more detail about our higher education courses as well as our professional courses. We're also going to be meeting one of our expert lecturers. We've got John Davies in the studio with us today, who's also got in store for us an exclusive masterclass at the end of today's Open Day.
Yeah, that's right. While Luke is telling you a bit more about the courses, I'll be behind the scenes answering any questions that you have. So just get them into the chat. I'll answer some as we're going along. We'll all meet up at the end as well, have a Q&A session. And don't forget, if you want to keep up to date with the latest masterclasses, interviews and goings on around Point Blank, just hit that subscribe button to keep in the loop.
Absolutely. So without further ado, let's get started with the Open Day. And I think probably the best place to start is for you to get a bit of a better understanding as to what it means to be a Point Blank student. So I've got a video that I'd like to share with you, which kind of really gives you a bit of a better idea as the kind of experience you're going to have when you come and study with us. So let me share my screen with you and check out this video.
If you're already a DJ or producer, if you work a 9-to-5 job, if you're a student elsewhere, taking an online course allows you to improve your production skills in your own time. You choose when you want to do it. I can get in from a gig at 6, 7 in the morning. I can wake up when I want and get on with the course, surrounded by the comforts of my own home. Every week, a new element of the course is introduced. There's an extensive lesson, and then you're left with a whole sort of library of sounds, project files, tracks for you to just experiment with.
So an example of one of the lessons might be talking about how to arrange a tune. So we might take a very well-known track and break it down, use it as a template, and then we would make a video on how you could apply that template to your own tune. There'd be some audio examples, an arrangement that was listed, and then there'd be a series of videos which are tutorials.
They're kind of cutting edge, up to the minute techniques covered in short, informative tutorial videos that everybody can understand.
And then there would often be a downloadable project as well, so you can then go and try it out for yourself, which is a really brilliant feature.
By the time the masterclass comes, there's your chance to iron out stuff you might be stuck on.
The masterclass is a weekly live session, which you simply log on to the Point Blank online site, go to your course, click on the chat room window, and what you'll see is a text field where you can input questions for your tutor. You'll also see a video screen which will carry the tutor's computer screen. You'll be able to see everything that they're doing. They'll be demonstrating for you music production techniques based on that week's course content, and also you'll be able to see your tutor speaking to you live in real time. So you can get instant feedback, instant one-to-one answers to your questions.
I'm going to load a snare sound into the simpler device and essentially use resonators to create a musical tone out of a snare sound.
Every 2 weeks, you will receive a one-to-one video tutorial. The session is recorded as a high-quality video for you to keep. To have that kind of interactivity and to have someone feeding back on your work is just gold dust, you know. And I think this kind of steel can sound is brilliant. I mean, that's a real kind of hook of the track, this. Maybe let's just try recording something in. The response that the tutor gives is completely tailored to the student's style of music or the level that they're at as well. So it might be nice to spice up this drum track by adding a delay, and you can see I've put one here in the return of the drum rack, and if we just apply that to the clap now, you see it has a really nice effect.
This one-on-one time can happen anywhere because it's online, but I can be on the move, I can be at my parents' house.
I've had students in Australia, Japan, America, anywhere in Europe, you know, really you can be anywhere.
The ability varies hugely, everyone's on different levels.
Part of the skill of the tutors is to adapt to those different levels of ability. There are some students who really are quite advanced.
A little while back, I taught Claude Von Stroke on the dubstep course, which I wrote.
It was really great. I learned tons of stuff.
Very established producer, but he was open and wanted to learn new things in a new genre.
There are other students who really do come in at a basic level, and it's amazing to see how well they progress actually.
You could be a house producer or you could be a gabba producer, it doesn't matter. You create relationships with people, there's a chance for collaborations with other producers.
I've had quite a few instances where after the courses have finished, students have hit me up saying that they hooked up while they were on the course and they've finished a track and they've sent it to me via SoundCloud or something, and that's great. I love seeing that.
This is an opportunity to get involved, you know, with other people who just want to do exactly the same thing as you.
If you want to find out more, make sure you check out pointblankmusicschool.com.
So there you have it, awesome stuff. I hope you enjoyed that and hope it gave you a bit of a better idea as to what you can expect our online courses to be. Remember, if you do have any questions, then do please put those in the chat room. John, as he mentioned earlier on, is going to be answering those, but also save some questions for the end of today's session because we are going to be answering those live in a Q&A at the end of today's open day. Now, I want to say a big welcome to everybody who's logged on. Thanks so much for joining us. I know that some of you in the chat room have been, I said that you're logging in from all over the world. We've got people from Munich, Germany, Nigeria, Brussels and Belgium, as well as Wales and the United Kingdom. So a big thank you for attending, and hopefully this session gives you all the information you need about our courses. And that leads me on nicely to kind of maybe give you a bit of a backstory as to how Point Blank got started. We've been established since 1994. Originally, actually, we formed as a recording studio in London, and the idea back then was that we wanted to make records. We found that a lot of people that were coming into our studios were asking a lot of questions about how all the equipment worked. And so we thought we'd start teaching music production courses, and these courses became incredibly popular and sort of formed the backbone of, you know, the global presence and school that we have here today and that we're presenting to you today. So we're really fortunate in the nearly 30 plus years that we've been in existence to have won many awards and accolades. We most recently got an 82% student satisfaction score, which really speaks volumes about what our students think about the teaching they're getting here at Point Blank. We won winner of the best independent HE school, which we're incredibly proud of. And we have a TEF Silver Award too for teaching excellence. Since we started off teaching music production courses back in the 90s, we now offer higher education and professional courses, and I'm going to be going into a bit more detail about those a little later on. As we've seen, we already have a global community of you online watching this online open day. And you can see as well that we have a global community of schools. We have campuses in London, which is our main HQ, as well as in Los Angeles, in Ibiza. We've got a campus in Mumbai, India, 2 campuses in China. But really today, it's about finding out more about our online school and the online courses that we deliver. Remember, when you study with us here at Point Blank, it's a very student-centered approach. It's more than just the course. It's about giving you the tools and skills to go on and achieve your career aspirations and hopefully become professionals yourselves in the music industry. Now, over the years, we've partnered up with a lot of the main industry players. We have lots of partnerships with some of the main companies like Solid State Logic, Adam Audio, Ableton, Apple, Spitfire Audio, Pioneer DJ, who kit out a lot of our studios around our campuses, but also provide the software that you're going to be working with when you're studying with us online. So we want to be working with, and we want you to be working with, the same sort of equipment and software that professional music producers are working with day in, day out throughout their careers in the music industry. That means when you graduate from your course, you've got those skills under your belt and you can go and deliver the goods in the music industry in a professional capacity. Now, for those of you who are interested in studying our higher education courses, now these are Bachelor of Arts honours degrees validated by our partnering university, which is Middlesex University. So Middlesex quality assure, and they accredit all of our courses, but everything is designed and it's delivered by Point Blank online. So we offer a Bachelor of Arts honours degree in music production and sound engineering. This is a 3-year degree, and in the end you would graduate with a Middlesex award with Point Blank Music School. We also offer a Cert HE. Now the Cert HE is equivalent to the first year of that same BA Hons degree in music production and sound engineering. So there's a 1-year option, or there's a full 3-year BA option. Now, unlike a lot of other universities which would usually only have 1 start date each year, typically in October, we actually operate 2 start dates every year, and these are in October and in April. So our next available start date that you could apply for is going to be April 2024. We're also accepting applications for October 2024 too. So get your applications in. You can apply through UCAS or directly on our website. And yeah, we look forward to reviewing that and hopefully making you an offer on the course. Now, for those of you who might be interested in maybe studying one of our professional courses, these might be shorter type courses that teach you the tools and the skills needed to produce professional quality music. We offer courses in music production and sound engineering. We offer DJ courses, as well as offering music business courses. Very important if you're looking to market yourself and promote yourself, start making a living from the music industry. Unlike our degree courses, these actually enroll every 3 months. So we've actually got a start date coming up next week on the 2nd of October, and there's still time for you to book on and start the course with us next week. In fact, as a thank you for attending our open day today, we'd like to extend a 20% discount if you book on any of our professional courses by this Saturday, the 30th of September. It's very important to remember it's the 30th, and you can use the discount code SEPT20, SEPT20, to make that 20% discount. Remember, it's not just for starting courses on Monday the 2nd, but you could also start a course in January or April or July of next year. As long as you book by this Saturday, the 30th of September, you can get that 20% discount. So make sure you book in by Saturday, and yeah, you can start your course with Point Blank. Moving on, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about study modes. This is a question we get asked all the time. And first of all, it's whether our courses are full-time and part-time. So we offer both options. Our full-time courses would basically consist of you studying 2 modules each term. So it's 2 subjects at the same time. And typically we recommend you study around 20 hours per week. So it's 10 hours per module. If you're looking at doing a part-time course, which would just be 1 module each term, so 1 subject at a time, then typically you only really recommended to do around 10 hours per week. So that's going to be a bit more flexible in terms of maybe fitting your studies around a full-time job, or maybe family commitments, or something else that you might be juggling alongside your studies. So remember, if you have any questions about any of this, we're going to be answering those at the end of the Q&A, and John's also going to be asking those. So get those in the chat room as well if you'd like your questions answered. Another question we get asked quite a lot is about funding. Can I get funding for your courses? How can I pay for your courses? So the good news is, if you are a UK-based student and you're looking to do one of our higher education courses, then you can get a full student loan company tuition fee loan. That is going to finance the tuition fee cost of the course, and it's covered by the student loans company. So you would apply through that, through Student Finance England, and then you can get your funding sorted by the UK government. If, however, you're looking at maybe doing one of our professional courses, then we do offer termly and monthly instalment plans to help break down those course fees into more manageable chunks. Again, any questions you have, pop those in the chat room or save them for the end, and we'll answer those at the Q&A. Moving on, a question we also get asked all the time is, well, how do your online courses work? Well, to go into a bit more detail about that, and I'll show you a video very shortly which goes into even more detail, the online courses basically consist of a live weekly 2-hour masterclass. So this is a live session between you and your teacher and the rest of the class, where they're going to be going through the course curriculum, the syllabus, demonstrating production techniques, and you can converse and you can interact with the rest of the classroom and your teacher, ask questions throughout that live masterclass session. On top of this, every 2 weeks you get a one-to-one personal session between you and your teacher. So this is a great opportunity to get focused feedback and attention from a professional music industry professional. You also get one-on-one studio lab time with our studio technicians or our lecturers, as well as extensive tutorial videos, course notes. There's loads of audio examples, there's downloadable projects, templates, samples, assignments, exercises, as well as a forum and a chat room for you to engage, to collaborate, to work together, to share your ideas. Remember, the music industry is a networking industry. It's about people, it's about meeting those people, connecting with them, and that's what we're trying to bring in an online setting for you, so that you can grow and learn together, start getting access to opportunities in the music industry. To go into a bit more detail, as promised, I've got a little video, so check this out, and then we're going to meet one of our lecturers, John Davies.
Well, the masterclasses are our chance to go about the material. It's like being in a class together, you know, and it's pretty cool because a lot of people become friends over in the chat room, and then they start collaborating and making music. In all effects, it's like being in a class all together. So I would like to know, you guys in the chat room, where you guys are from. So let me check. Greece, Jersey Channel. All right, so okay, same time here. Romania, but based in Copenhagen. Very beautiful. I love Copenhagen very much. Normally they happen at the same day, at the same time every week, so it's very easy for students to organize. What they do is they just connect onto the Point Blank VLE. They see me, they see my screen. I chat to them so everyone can also see them and we can have a discussion. The advantage is that everything gets recorded, so students can go back and refer to material over and over again, can watch more videos. There is a lot of exercises, and it can all be done at whatever pace the student wants, so they can all approach it in different ways.
On certain set weeks throughout your module, you'll be able to have a live one-to-one Zoom call with your lecturer. This is a great opportunity for you to ask questions about your assignments, any help you need regarding exercises, or anything regarding the course content. The week before the one-to-one tutorial is set to take place, your lecturer will give you a set of time slots, which you can find here. You can find a time slot that suits you best and confirm your booking. In order to get your certificate of completion, you'll need to attend a minimum of 3 out of 5 one-to-one sessions with your lecturer. Your lecturer will provide you an exercise you need to complete 1 week before your scheduled one-to-one. If you'd like your lecturer to give you help on a specific project, you'd need to zip it up and upload it here. When it's time for your one-to-one, you'll need to go back to the one-to-one tutorial page of your selected module. There you'll find a button that says Join Zoom Session. Click this to join your tutorial. Alternatively, you can also join it from the one-to-one booking page by clicking the blue Zoom icon. Let's look at an example of a one-to-one with our lecturer, John Watson.
I'm not sure if you've used this before. So this is a notch band. And what this will do is you don't have control of the gain because it simply cuts out completely, and the cue determines how wide that cut is.
Feel free to ask the lecturers any questions that you might have during this one-to-one tutorial. This is your chance to tap the brains of our expert lecturers and tailor the course to your needs.
Cool, so there you have it. Hopefully that's given you a bit of a better explanation as to what the VLE looks like, what the teaching looks like, and what you can expect the courses to be like when you join one of our online courses. So you may have noticed that I've got someone new on camera with me now. This is John Davies, one of our expert lecturers. John, thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome, good to be here.
Brilliant. Well, listen, we think that it's great if everyone attending can kind of get to find out a little bit more about who the teachers are, who the staff are here at Point Blank, who are going to be teaching them throughout the courses. Tell us a little bit about what you teach here at Point Blank.
Well, 7 years ago now, goodness, I started teaching music composition, and I've actually been teaching that module pretty much consistently for the last 7 years. I teach it regularly online. So yeah, if you sign up to study music composition, there's a high chance that you'll be with me. I've also taught advanced composition and mixing and songwriting and a few other things, but yeah.
Brilliant. So yeah, there's quite a high chance they're going to be in one of your
Oh,
subject
yes.
courses.
Oh yes.
Awesome stuff. So tell us a little bit maybe about yourself and how you got into making music, producing music. How did you get started off in the whole world of production?
I played in a band. Well, I played clarinet in an orchestra, but then I realised that the people in bands were getting more girlfriends than the people in orchestras. So I picked up a bass guitar, joined my friend's band, and thought, okay, we'll write some songs. Turned out songwriting was about more than just stringing some chords and riffs together. And I bought Logic on my old Apple Mac and got really into it. I found out that Quincy Jones studied classical music, and I basically wanted to become Quincy Jones. So I went and studied classical composition at university, and then got a job at an Apple store teaching Logic, which I really enjoyed. But really, it was there to just pay the bills whilst I realised my dreams of becoming a producer. And I did that for several years, just working with as many different artists as I could possibly find to work with. One of the artists did really well, put out an EP, got signed to Columbia Records, and then I spent 2 or 3 years producing his debut album and touring in his band, which was great until he got dropped, which wasn't great.
It happens though. Yeah.
It does. But by that point, I'd sort of amassed a load of technical knowledge and started mixing for a living. But I really missed working with artists at the beginning of their career, and was always trying to work out who's doing the artist development, because major record labels were doing. Gone were the days where you could be talented and a major record label would, give you 100 grand, and it seemed that artists were more and more responsible for their own artist development, and that therefore it was falling to places like this to empower and support artists as they embark on their own self-development. So yeah, I actually never set out to become a lecturer, but as soon as I started teaching at Point Blank, I realised it was more akin to my dream of being a producer than sitting alone in my studio bouncing stems. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yeah.
Well, it sounds like, throughout all the experience that you've amassed, you're sort of in a perfect position to transfer all of that knowledge over to, maybe our attendees here today on one of our courses. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe what a student might learn on, let's say, a music composition course? How could they expect to progress and improve through doing one of our courses?
So the music composition module that I teach specifically, we look at quite a bit of music theory, but it's not just let's learn a load of music theory. I mean, I'm a music theory geek, so I'd happily talk about music theory for hours, but really it's about giving you the tools to either recreate the ideas that you're hearing in your head in Logic or Ableton, or understanding how music works. So you can take a track that you really like the sound of and understand how that composer or producer's made and arranged those sounds, and how you could implement some of those styles in Logic or Ableton. I think that's pretty much the purpose of the music composition module. But if you want to geek out about the difference between a sus2 and an add9, we can definitely do that too.
Nice. And yeah, one final question I'd like to ask you is, if you could give any advice based on your experiences, your career so far, and obviously your learnings as well from being a teacher here at Point Blank, if you could give yourself advice that, maybe at their age now or in their position now, what advice would you give them that you would have liked to have received when you were starting out in music production?
Can I give you two?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
One piece of advice I did take, and it was actually a friend of mine who has had astronomical success in the record industry, and he said that piece of advice he was given when he started his first day in the music industry was get to know your generation, because that cliche of it's not what you know, it's who you know. It is obviously useful knowing stuff, but really it's the contacts that you make, the friends that you make, who will call you up saying, can you remix my track? Or I've got this artist I'm working with, they want to do this, would you be up for getting involved? So yeah, it's so important to just make friends in the music industry. Also, the piece of advice I wish I'd been given was, don't be a perfectionist and spend weeks or even months on one thing trying to make it amazing. Just write and write and write and write, because if you write 100 tracks, you're going to learn so much from that, and then you're going to be so much better than if you just tried to learn everything and only made one track in a year. So yeah, I think that's pretty important from everything that I've learned and seen.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. Very wise words. And look, we're going to be meeting up very shortly for one of your masterclasses, and I think it also kind of goes into not being a perfectionist by working within certain limitations. And so yeah, stick around for that, obviously. So yeah, thank you so much. Now, next up, I want to share with you just a quick video, just highlighting a few testimonials from some of our students, previous students that have studied with us online at Point Blank, just so you can get to hear from them what their experience has been like at Point Blank and what they thought about the courses with us. So check this out.
Hi guys, this is Smokey. I'm a singer, songwriter, future music producer, currently studying the online Search HE program at Point Blank on music production and sound engineering, and I'm absolutely loving it. I particularly like the virtual learning environment a lot because I can take my course whatever time suits me best. Plus, since it's all on video, I can always go back, re-watch something if I miss some information, which is very useful. So I feel like Point Blank is really helping me stay focused, structure my career better, and just be more creative in general. So thank you guys.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Boyladad. I'm a music producer and aspiring sound engineer. I'm taking the BA Honors Music Production and Sound Engineering degree at Point Blank Music School online. I've had an amazing experience studying with Point Blank. I love the way the lessons are taught, especially when using the VLE. It's very intuitive and the modules are well organized. I get to have plenty of one-to-one sessions and master classes with my teachers where I can get personal attention and really hone my skills to the professional level.
It's your big dog Sheldon Curl, and I'm enrolled up in the Master Diploma program at Point Blank Music School online. And what I like about Point Blank Music School is everything is practical to today's music. All the hits, the music theory, everything that we study, everything that we go through, everything we learn how to program, everything is relevant to today's music. And that what makes Point Blank so awesome. Have a good one.
So there you have it, just a few student testimonials to give you an idea about their thoughts on our courses. Now next up, I wanted to talk to you about how we engage you and how we help you in your future careers within the music industry. It's a really important thing for you to focus on and for us to focus on to help you achieve your aspirations and your career goals. Now John mentioned something really important in the first piece of advice that he gave you was, make friends and make connections and contacts within the music industry. Because as I mentioned earlier on, the music industry, really is a networking industry. It's about people, it's about connections, and the bigger your network, you know, the wider your network of connections, the more opportunities you're going to get. It's really as simple as that. So let's look at the music industry as a whole. It's a global industry, obviously. We've seen already online today, we've got students from all over the world. And one of the great things about studying online is that it allows you to reach all those people around the world. It allows you the opportunity to start collaborating with people that maybe you wouldn't have met before, that are going to bring new ideas to the table. And it's through this sort of collaboration that you're going to come up with new, exciting, original music that's hopefully going to be at the forefront of the music industry, and you know, it's going to make you really successful within that industry. The global industry itself is worth nearly $20 billion. It sustains nearly 200,000 jobs in the UK alone. So just imagine how many jobs that is around the entire world. As I've already mentioned, we've got a global student community. We've got 6 campuses, in fact 7 campuses, I should change that. We've got 50,000 plus students and alumni and over 2 million followers through all of our social channels. And when you study at Point Blank, you get access to all of that. That's really valuable in terms of helping you connect with the most important people you can in the music industry. And the most important people are each other. It's yourselves, it's your peers. You know, you need to network laterally around you, you know, and know your generation, as John quite rightly said. So when you come and study with us at Point Blank, you become part of what we like to call the Point Blank ecosystem. And you get to collaborate and work with songwriters, with producers, singers, mixing engineers, sound engineers, mastering engineers, music managers, you know, people from all walks of life in all different areas of the music industry. And that's what forms the collective of the music industry. And that's how you're going to get access to opportunities and start working within that industry. It's a very student-focused approach here at Point Blank. So it's about you. It's about helping you achieve your career aspirations, your goals, and setting you up to become successful in the music industry as well as on the course while you're studying with us. So how do we do that? We do that through careers and employability opportunities. We run lots of virtual drop-in sessions. We do one-to-ones with a careers and engagement officer that we have here at Point Blank. You can book online sessions with them or mentoring sessions to kind of get an idea as to kind of what steps you should be taking to launch your career, to start getting access to these sorts of opportunities. We'll look at things like CV writing tips, application and interview tips, and we'll put forward job opportunities, things like volunteering roles maybe, or internships, or full-time jobs. And some of the companies that you might see there on the screen, you know, are just a few of the opportunities that some of our previous students have been able to have access to. Some pretty big companies there you may have heard of. And we get these sorts of opportunities coming thick and fast through Point Blank. Remember, we come from a professional background in the music industry, so we're very, very well connected with a lot of people, with a lot of companies within that industry, and through those connections, we look to help you and connect you to the music industry. Another thing that we do a lot of here at Point Blank are events and opportunities. So again, we're looking to connect you to the music industry. So we'll do things like listening sessions, we'll do student showcases where you can showcase your work, perform, and we'll also do masterclasses. We've got one coming up very soon, and it gives you an idea of what the masterclasses are like here at Point Blank. But these can be great opportunities to meet people at the top of their game, and they're going to be going through a session where they might show you how they produce a piece of music, or maybe they'll talk to you about how to get a record deal, or you know what you should be looking out for when you're looking for a manager, for instance. So really invaluable sort of inside tips to how you can get started in your careers and you know, get off to the best possible start. One last thing I'd like to also talk with you about is our in-house record label, Point Blank Recordings. Now, Point Blank Recordings is basically looking to develop and promote Point Blank student talent. So we want to hear your demos, we want to hear your music with a view to potentially signing that music to Point Blank Recordings. There is an A&R budget, artist development, there's marketing and publishing that goes into that, and we're looking to release your music to the world. On top of that, we'll be connecting you to industry legends. So as you can see on the screen here, people like Kathy Sledge, Kim Mizell, Ultranate, big artists have collaborated and worked with previous Point Blank students through Point Blank Recordings. So when you come and study at Point Blank, you're learning how to produce, but you also get an outlet to be able to potentially get your music signed and experience what it's like to get your music released on a record label that might prepare you for getting future tracks released on other labels out in the music industry. So definitely send over your stuff. We'll be more than happy to listen to that. Now, next up, a very important thing I'd like to talk to you about is about student successes. The most important thing for us is for you to become as successful as possible within the music industry. Your success means our success. And we've been really fortunate that over the nearly 30 years we've been around to have many, many students come through our doors and go on to achieve incredible things within the music industry. Multiple #1 hits, world tours, working with some of the biggest artists and getting signed to some of the biggest record labels in the business. And I've got a video I'd like to share with you, just highlighting and showcasing a few of those artists. So check this out, and then we'll all reconvene for the masterclass straight after this.
Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Every feel it come around with round. Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody get down when we give it to you.
Everybody feel it come around with round. Everybody feel it come around with round. Everybody feel it come around with round.
Everybody in the pump. Everybody in the pump. Everybody in the pump. Everybody in the pump.
So there you have it, just a few familiar faces hopefully, and some of our successful students that have come and studied with us at Point Blank. Remember, we want to give you all the same tools and skills to go on and become just as successful as they have been. So definitely come and join one of our courses at Point Blank. So next up, I want to bring John back into the fold. And yeah, it's time for our masterclass. So we alluded to it very briefly earlier on. But yeah, tell us a little bit about what you've got in store for our attendees today.
Well, I wanted to deconstruct something from one of our termly sample challenges. So a few years ago, kind of inspired by Andrew Wang, who has this amazing video series, 4 Producers, 1 Sample, where he just gets a load of producers to flip a sample to turn a little bit of audio into a completely new composition and production. We started running these events at Point Blank. Every term there's a sample challenge and a composing challenge. And the sample challenge involves me spending the whole of the term thinking about an interesting sound to get your students' creative juices flowing. And one term, the sample was this little guy, me recording dinging a plant pot with a screwdriver. And we met up on Zoom, and everyone has 1 hour to take that bit of audio and create a brand new composition. There's 2 options. Option 1 is make some music that features this audio sample, and option 2 is the Sensei Challenge, where you can only use that sound for a new composition. So I find the limitation, like it's 1 hour, which is a ludicrously short period of time, but limitation really gets the creative juices flowing. And all my favorite tracks in the last couple of years have started out as sample challenge. Like that pot ding sound turned into, oh, where is it now? I was going to show you the full track. I thought I had it here. Maybe I will show you the other one then. No, here it is. I call it Sooty. Turned into this. This is the full track with about 3 days worth of work after the sample challenge. Everything was made from this pot. And I've got another example of a track that was made from the sound of my drill, which I quite like. Just to give you a flavour of the sort of ideas that have inspired me. And a few terms ago, I couldn't think of what the sample to provide, and I thought, well, it's been a while since we used a vocal sample, so maybe we can use the sound of my voice. So I recorded my voice.
Join us for a sample challenge.
That's me. And for that sample challenge, I decided to just take the very end of that sort of 30 seconds of audio that sounds a bit like this.
No limitations.
And I thought, right, can I make a whole track from just a 2-word little phrase? So I took that little bit of audio and I added it to Ableton's sampler, and it sounds a little something like this. If I solo this track, let's just maybe get rid of that filter, I think.
No limitation. No.
So you've got 1 hour to flip this sample, and then after the event, we all take it in turns to check out what everyone's made. So the time is really on, and I just had my MIDI keyboard.
No.
And I was playing around.
No.
And I was like, that's cool. I haven't got time to think of a better idea. So I added a little bit of filtering using Ableton Sampler and came up with this. And then I added a load of audio effects, a little bit of EQ here to just get rid of some of that rumbly low end, and some of my favorite Ableton plugins. This is all using stock Ableton plugins. This is the drum bus and the overdrive, and I got it to sound pretty cool. So there we go. That was 5 minutes done. And then I wanted to add some sort of extra layer of bass, a kind of guitar type line. So I took this sample and I decided to create a very, very fast loop. And when you create a very, very, very fast loop, where's the line now? Here it is. You can create a sound that just doesn't sound like the original sound, which is great for turning the word no into that sort of thing. I'll show you without the effects that I used. So I'll take this filter off and I'll take this pitch modulation off. So that's literally just a teeny tiny snippet of me saying no. And then I'll add that pitch envelope. Doesn't really do much, but this filter, yeah. That's basically a little filter to filter out the high frequencies and a little bit of distortion to make it sound big and juicy. And then I decided to throw it through this guitar amp cabinet. So that was about 10 minutes in. You know, I'm working really fast. I will be honest with you, I have touched up this project a little bit since. But yeah, next thing, I wanted to add some sort of percussion stuff. And I didn't have much success with the word no, but limitation, that word had some pretty interesting little sound bites. So I chopped it up and added just a few effects and composed this. So that's just a few different kind of clicks and from my voice. And maybe I'll show you, actually those effects aren't really doing much at all. It's probably the filter that's doing quite a bit, but that started working quite well. I was there in my studio on Zoom, kind of feeling like Liam Howlett from The Prodigy. And then the next thing was to create a kick drum. And I'm getting all nervous now because sometimes this can be quite difficult, but you know what? I reckon I can do it. So I took this no, and I did something a little bit like this. Maybe a little bit lower. No, that's probably around about there. And then I filtered it and changed the sound so it wasn't too long. That's a little bit too much filtering, isn't it? Let's just... Maybe I'll just bring this down. It's a bit too much. Doesn't sound particularly good, but then I added a load of effects, and this is the kick drum that I made from that word no. I'll show you without the filter and without this pitch envelope modulation. Oh, let me just solo that for you. Maybe without that distortion. So that doesn't sound like a kick drum, right? But with a little bit of distortion and a little bit of this pitch modulation and then a bit of filtering to get rid of that fuzzy sound at the top, kind of starting to sound like a kick drum. And then I've included, again, an EQ to just get rid of any unnecessary low frequencies down the bottom here, and probably my favorite Ableton plugin ever, Drum Bus, as well as this overdrive plugin. And it's not a bad kick drum. It's not the sort of pristine kick drum that you'd get if you downloaded a kick drum from Splice, but it's got loads of character and it's unique to me, and I made it. So I making my own sounds from samples always just really gets me into flow state, much more than using a load of samples that any producer has access to. So then, to balance that kick drum, I wanted to create some sort of snare drum sound, and again I went to this word no, and to create that really snappy snare drum sound, if I take off all of the effects, there we go, and again, I'm using this pitch envelope function and also this filter and also this distortion. Oh. Oh. You can hear it's just the of the word no. With that distortion, with the filtering, and then with this pitch envelope, magic. And then maybe I will disable some of these plugins so you can just hear them one by one. With this pedal sound, kind of makes it a bit gnarly. Some overdrive, because I really just wanted the snappy top end, and my favorite plugin, Drum Bus. Yeah. and this is the beat. As you can hear, the next thing that I decided was I was going to add a melody, and I'm going to be honest with you, I cheated. I just took this melody that was working already and I duplicated it and twiddled with a few of the settings. Like if I open this melody track here, you can see it uses that same little slither of the word no. But I added some slightly different audio effects to it. I'll disable those so you can hear it before. Oops, let's just solo that track. Thank you very much. And to get that kind of plucky, twangy, filtery sound, it was pretty important that I use the filter. Then next, this overdrive plugin. Let me just get rid of all those one by one and bring them in one by one, just so you can hear. Cut a little bit of that low end and added this amp simulator, which was a really vital part of the sound. Here it is with that amp. Kind of really overdriven with a speaker cabinet. And finally this spectral resonator, which I don't usually use, but I wanted it to sound a bit swooshy, and I only had 30 seconds, so kind of worked. That was about 35 minutes down. As I said, I have tweaked this a little bit because when you're working this fast, things can be quite sloppy. But I then thought, okay, right, I've got time for one more section. So I used that same bass sound, and I thought I'm going to have a little bit of a breakdown. And you can see again, in Ableton's sampler, it's just using this teeny tiny snippet that's looping back and forth to create that really interesting bass sound. And I've not actually added much processing to this, just as I seem to do on most tracks, a little bit of EQ, and again this speaker cabinet, and again this drum bus plugin to give it some punch. So I'll play that section in its entirety at the end of this demonstration. But I wanted to, if I had time, create some chords. And all I really did to create those chords was to take the bass line, and maybe I'll just... I took the main notes of that bass line, and I've actually prepared a little before and after here for you. So if I duplicate this track, try that one more time, thank you very much. There we go. And I'm just going to get rid of all of that and show you the chord progression that I created. It's quite a simple chord progression. Sounds like this. I don't have time today to go into the music theory of what's going on, but some of those chords, you wouldn't find that chord progression in like a Western or Western European piece of music. It's kind of bending some music theory rules there. To be honest, I wasn't really thinking about it. I just played what sounded good to my ears. And then this second clip I've got for you again, I'm not going to go into the music theory other than to say the basic chords are here in red, but I use some additional notes that aren't found in what's called a basic triad. Again, this is like the whole masterclass for my week 4 music composition class, but showing you different notes that you can add to a chord to turn it from this into this. And I basically just played around for about 5 or 10 minutes, adding notes, taking notes out to try and create something that had a little bit of character. And if I've got 2 more minutes, which I think I have, I'll just show you this final neat little trick that's one of my favorite in the music composition class. So I have this chord progression, and if I actually get rid of the notes that I decided not to use there, then you'll see that each of these chords, let's get rid of that, each of these chords has 3 notes in it. And a lot of my music is based on gradually evolving loops, but I wanted to create a sense of progression in this chord progression. So what I did was I duplicated that chord progression a few times to create a much longer chord progression. And I used this neat little trick that's something that I show to all my students, a way of getting a chord progression to evolve over time. So in terms of what notes to use, there's a lot of music theory that goes into it, but this trick involves no music theory whatsoever, other than knowing that you can take any note in a chord and you can shift it up or down in pitch by this gap that's known as an octave. I'm sure a lot of you will have heard that word before. Like say this note E, I could take that and I could shift it down to a lower E, still the same note E. It has the same function, but it sounds a little bit darker. And so I can basically take the top notes in this chord progression, transpose them all down to create a chord progression that sits quite low in the arrangement. And then I can go through and I can start creating a bit of a rise in pitch. And I basically spent the last 10 minutes of this playing around with a different pitch of these chords, like you'll hear here. And maybe I could do something like this. Anyway, I had a little play around to take this 4-bar chord progression and turn it into something that really felt like it was going somewhere. And finally, I say finally, I'm cheating because I added this afterwards, but I used what's called automation to get the sound to change over time. And you can see this squiggly line there means that if I play this chord progression from this point, it sounds different to there and there. And so I'm getting different parameters within this synthesizer, this sampler, to change over time. And you'll hear that when I play the track. Maybe I'll play it from just the end of this drop here.
Absolutely amazing.
2 words.
Yeah, who would have known you could make so much music with just the word no, or 2 words, no limitations.
It's amazing, isn't it? And I had no idea that this idea was in my head. It all came from, I've got to do something with the sound. No, and you know, it all came from there. So yeah,
awesome.
Join the sample challenge.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, hopefully that's given you some inspiration to go and produce some music yourselves, and also a bit of a better idea as to kind of what we do here at Point Blank and what you can expect to learn. I want to welcome John back.
It's good to be back. Thank you very much. Yeah, so thanks for everyone who's engaging in the chat room. I can see we've got people coming joining us from Cyprus, from Lisbon, from Dublin, from the United States, Atlanta, Georgia, and so on. Again, you're all very, very welcome. And I think it's time for our Q&A section, if we're ready.
Absolutely, yes. I know that, some of your questions have come into the chat room, and John's been keeping a few aside for us.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
fire away.
Brilliant, cool. So Fabi asks, Fabi is a Cubase 12 user. And they're asking, would they need to work with Logic or Ableton, basically, or do we do any Cubase-related courses?
Yeah, so Fabi, we would focus on teaching music production with Logic Pro or Ableton Live. So if you were to come and study with us, I'd recommend that you try and work with one of those software programs. If you do have experience working with Cubase, then that's great, because a lot of the skills you will have learnt using Cubase transferable over to Logic or Ableton. They both do the same thing. I kind of like to look at it a bit like, an Android phone or an iPhone. They make phone calls, they go on the internet, send text messages. They're just sort of, the interface looks a bit different. And once you wrap your head around how to, navigate everything, then exactly the same theory applies when working with it. Would you say that's right, John?
Yeah, I'd also add to that the more doors you know, as in the more platforms you know, the less limited you are by one. So it's kind of like languages. Learning your first language is difficult. The more languages you learn, like there are those people that know 20 languages, they can pick up a new language in like a day. And when I started teaching here, my Ableton knowledge, I knew Ableton, but I didn't know it inside out. And through learning Ableton to the level that I was at Logic, I've become a better producer using Logic. So it's not like a kind of sales dangling, trying to incentivize you, because it is the genuine truth that I recommend to people. If you already know Logic, learn Ableton. If you know them both, learn Pro Tools, learn Cubase, because you become a better producer, and you of course can collaborate with anyone, no matter what DAW they use.
Absolutely, yeah. And everything you do learn, obviously, within Logic Pro or Ableton Live, you can just transfer those skills back into Cubase if you want to keep working with Cubase, at home in your own personal setup. But as John said, obviously the more skills you have, the bigger your armory and your arsenal, the more you can do, and the more people you can collaborate with and work with as well.
Great advice. One final thing on that as well is that if you are thinking of moving over to Ableton in particular, our students are entitled to a 50% discount, so definitely let us know. We can help you out, make a massive saving. Or even better, if you do our complete diploma, you get a free copy of Ableton Live Suite, which is yours to keep as well. So yeah, definitely worth checking that out. Great, okay, we've got a question here from Martin, who is asking about, can you pause a course and restart later if needed?
Yeah, so Martin, you could potentially kind of interrupt your studies. Let's say you were to study our music production diploma, for instance. It's got 8 subject modules. Let's say you've got a really nice holiday plan in the summer, you don't want to miss it. We can put a 3-month break in, pause your studies, come back after your holiday, and you can keep going. So yeah, there's definitely some flexibility to pause your studies. I should, however, say that if you are doing a degree level program, those courses or modules are set in stone, so you wouldn't be able to move things around. But for the professional courses, we can be flexible. Just get in touch, let us know, and we can make any of those changes for you.
Brilliant. We've got a question here from Kate, just with regards to the masterclass sessions. I think she may have missed earlier, but just asking about what time they usually are and when they take place.
Yeah, so our masterclasses take place at the same time on the same day each week. So depending on the subject you're studying, on the module you're studying, that will indicate what day of the week it will be. But typically, if you're in the UK, it's going to be from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. in the evening. So usually it's really good to sort of fit around your work schedule or any other commitments you might have. Obviously, if you are from anywhere else in the world, you'll need to adjust for time zones. If we do have some online courses for our US-based students that suit their time zones. But yeah, it's from 7 till 9 p.m. once a week with your teacher. The rest of the time, you've got access to all the course materials, all the course notes, the video tutorials, template samples, downloadable projects, whenever you like. So that's what's great about the online courses. They're really flexible. You choose when you study, along with the live masterclasses and one-to-ones that you can select as well each week.
That's great. We had a question from, let me just double check the name here, Mr. Groove, cool name, who was asking specifically about when the Ableton course, when the Ableton Live Masterclass will be from the course that's starting next week on the 2nd. I had a chance to have a check for you. It's going to be on Tuesdays between 7 and 9 p.m. UK time. As we've been saying though, if you happen to miss one, it's not a problem. They're all recorded and archived. So just watch them back whenever you like. You can download them and save them for future reference as well. It's really, really flexible. So, people are busy, so you can fit them around your schedule as well. All right, let's have a look. We got a question here from Violetta, who sounds like she's got a decent background in music, already has a bachelor. She's looking to learn more about music production in particular, making beats, finishing off tracks. Sounds like she's got a little bit of experience with Logic, but wants to get into more kind of advanced things like mixing and mastering. What would you recommend, Luke?
Well, I mean, our mixing and mastering course. If you're looking to kind of work a bit more on the post-production stages of the production process, so you're looking more at kind of enhancing the sonic qualities of your track. You're happy with what you've produced, you've recorded, you've composed, the song structure is there, but then it's about making the sort of track live and breathe and come to life. That's where the mixing and mastering courses are going to be really useful. It's going to teach you techniques like EQing, compression, the dynamics of the track, so that we've got a nice kind of round, punchy, loud, professional mix. Would you say that's about right, John?
Yeah, I think so. For me, coming from a classical and a pop music background where I played real instruments, the two things that really opened my eyes were mixing, but also synthesis and sound design. Learning how a synthesizer works, not just so you can muck around with silly samples like mine, but even understanding how, say, you reach for, let's say, a native instrument string sound. Understanding how a synthesizer can work can just give you so much potential to manipulate those conventional sample-based synthesizers, as well as squeaky electronic blobs and wobbles, which, as I always say to my students who might not be interested in the specific example we're looking at, it's useful to learn something, even if you end up just taking that knowledge and applying it to more sort of conventional non-electronic music.
Cool. So check out our sound design courses too, for sure.
Great stuff. Angelo is asking then, sounds like he's interested in doing one of our shorter courses, not necessarily a diploma. Absolutely fine. We have courses that range from kind of like 10 weeks up to kind of 6 months and longer. If you're quite new, I'd recommend checking out our music production courses in both Logic and Ableton. If you've got more experience, the mixing and mastering courses, for example, would be a really good option. We also have our in-depth courses, which are 6 months long, looking at more advanced, some of the stuff that John's been looking at before as well, getting into synthesis, remixing, all that side of things as well. So don't necessarily need to commit to one of our longer programs. We've got courses for all different ranges and budgets and things like that as well. And don't forget about the 20% discount, which is running at the moment.
Absolutely.
Cool, we got a question from Zachary. Sounds like he is going to be joining us for the DJ Skills course next week. Brilliant, Zachary. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Just asking about what software he will need.
Yeah, so for the DJ Skills course, we work with Pioneer Recordbox. So we have an exclusive partnership with Pioneer, so we'll be working with their software. So Pioneer Recordbox is all you need on your computer to do the DJ Skills course. But if you do have a little controller, it can be any controller, then that would be great too. And obviously it just allows you to kind of, make the software work in a bit more tactile version other than using your keyboard. But that's it. All you really need is that software to do the DJ Skills course.
Great stuff. Excuse me. All right, let's have a look here. Oh, they're all coming in now, thick and fast.
I think we've only got time for maybe a couple more.
Yeah,
and we'll have to wrap
okay,
it up.
no worries. So where are we going here? Sorry. Yeah, Chloe was interested in finding out more about the music industry course that we offer.
Yeah, good question, Chloe. Very important course, in fact. The music industry course is really designed to give you a better understanding of the industry and how to make a living from your music, from your craft. So it's about understanding things like publishing, royalties, distribution, dealing with accountants, managers, lawyers, negotiating contracts, and yeah, how to start making money and protect your artistic output. Really important. It's something that I think a lot of music producers and artists get caught out by because they're busy in the studio being creative, working, but when it comes to promoting themselves and marketing themselves and actually having an outlet to be able to start earning money from their art, they fall short because they're not focusing on that business side of things. So it's important to have your creative hat on, but also your business hat, and that's what the music industry course is all about. So if you're looking for that outlet to be able to start getting your music out there, being heard, start networking, start making connections and contacts, and getting access to opportunities, then yeah, join our music industry course. It starts on Monday, and it sounds like it's the perfect one for you.
Brilliant, really, really important stuff to know. Okay, I think we've got time for just one more. So Jake is asking, does it help for people who already have knowledge in music production and has a few tracks signed already? So it sounds like Jake's got a good bit of experience. Yeah, we can help with that as well.
Absolutely. John, what would you say for someone who maybe has a bit more experience? Do you think the courses are still suitable for them? There's loads they can get out of it, right?
Yeah, it's always interesting. I used to actually worry that, okay, maybe people who know a little bit aren't going to get as much from my teaching as someone who knows nothing, but often it's the people. I taught someone who was head of keyboard studies at the Royal Conservatoire of their country. They knew more music theory than me, but for them, the structure and focus on something that they already knew a bit about, but being able to talk with myself and work out what were the kind of gaps in their armour, if you like. I think they got more out of that module than I think any of the other students. So yeah, if I had the time, I'd take a module every term myself.
Well, there you have it. Can't argue with that, can you?
Every day is a school day, as they say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's all we've got time for in terms of the Q&A today. So apologies if we haven't been able to answer all of your questions. But John and I are going to be following up with everybody. So if you do have any more questions for us, we'll be happy to answer those. Maybe schedule a phone call and we can go through all of those with you individually. That really wraps it up for our open day today. So I want to say a big thank you to John for joining us today.
Pleasure.
For his awesome masterclass, showing us what you can make with just 2 words. Absolutely incredible. Also another thanks to John here for manning the Q&A and answering our questions today. And also I want to thank everybody who's attended. So thank you so much for joining us on today's online open day. One more thing I'd like to share with you, in fact a couple more things. Remember, if you are looking to study one of our higher education courses, we're accepting applications for April 2024 as well as September 2024. So get your application in as soon as you're ready, and we look forward to reviewing that. And just to remind you again that we are offering you a 20% discount on all of our professional courses when you book by this Saturday, the 30th of September. That's if you want to start our courses next Monday on the 2nd of October, or next year in January, April or July. Use the discount code SEPT20, that's SEPT20, by the 30th of September. So yeah, big thank you guys, and a big thank you to all of you, and we'll see you on one of our courses very soon. Thank you so much, take care, goodbye.
Bye.